Welcome to Live Your Best Midlife. I'm your host, Jill Lewis. Join me for inspiring pep talks and expert interviews as we explore staying active, feeling great, and embracing midlife adventures. Whether you're an empty nester, a pickleball enthusiast, or just ready to rediscover your vibrant self, this podcast is for you. Let's make our mid-years our best years. Now, on to the show. Welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, Jill Lewis. Thank you for joining me. Oh my gosh, you guys, winter has arrived in Southwest Florida. I don't know when it has ever been this cold down here. I'm thinking never since we've owned a place down here that it's been this cold. And it's so crazy because January came in so warm and amazing. Really, the whole month of January was much warmer than normal. And then bam, the last 2 days of January is cold. Everyone's covering up their flowers, but we'll get through it. It'll warm up by midweek. People are talking about the iguanas freezing and falling out of trees. I have not seen that, thankfully, but very weird to be down here in Florida and be cold. It's not like you really have a lot of cold weather gear down here. I don't have any gloves, and I honestly was thinking, gosh, do I need gloves down here? But I'm not going to get any. I do have a sock hat. My husband has a heated vest, which, by the way, that thing's pretty sweet, and I've been putting off getting one. I think I need one. On top of it being cold this week, I don't know if you can tell in my voice, I've had a cold, and it has been getting on my last nerve. Don't you hate it when it's like you just take for granted feeling good, and then when you don't feel good, and I feel fine. It's just that it's just lingering. You know what I mean? So I've never had a fever. It's not super gross congestion. It's just I'm congested and it's there and it's like a tickle in my throat and I'm blowing my nose a lot. I've got my nose looks all rough and gross. You know the deal. I hate taking, I'm just so bad about taking medication. I'm one of those that is like at a last resort. I will take it. And I have been really pushing like NyQuil at night because I want to make sure I sleep. I've been taking Mucinex. And I didn't take Mucinex, I think the second half of yesterday and all day today. And I can really tell because I feel like I thought I was getting better. Oh, so annoying. And then on top of it all, I hurt my back in the gym. You guys, why? So here's what I think happened. I have been working on my golf game. Now, I know this isn't like the most important things in life, but when I look to the future of my life and how I want to spend it, I want to be doing fun things with my husband and with my friends. And golf is a part of our community and what we do, what my husband loves to do. So I'm determined to get better. Okay. So I really put in some practice time this week on the driving range. And then Saturday, I go to do my leg day workout like normal. I did heel elevated goblet squats like I always do. And then I went into my dumbbell deadlifts like I normally do. And right away, when I started doing those dumbbell in my first set of them, I felt this twinge it's like right inside of my left shoulder blade. Boom, man, that thing hurt. And I had to stop working out. And it is like last night in the middle of the night, it woke me up. It was hurting. So I started taking ibuprofen, which again, I don't love taking that kind of stuff. I think it's helping. I iced it a lot yesterday and today. And tomorrow I'm going to go get a massage and I'm going to look for somebody to do down here that can do some dry needling. Up in Southern Illinois, I have a great person that does dry needling, Dr. Steve Blanford. He's in Marion, Illinois. Wow, so good. We're so blessed to have him. I'm sure I've talked about him before on the podcast, but if you're not familiar, dry needling, it's a therapeutic. It's invasive, but not crazy. But it is a small needle that needs to have a physical therapist, a chiropractor, some kind of healthcare provider that uses a needle to treat muscular pain or dysfunction of some kind. So it's going to target deep trigger points in muscles that's going to release tension, reduce pain, increase range of motion, improve mobility. It is an amazing tool in the right hands, of course. And yeah, it's like a little bit of discomfort. The needle, you don't even feel that going in. You really don't. When it hits that trigger spot, it definitely feels like a little bit of a electrical current, like a little bit of a zing, but it is so good and worth doing. It really does help a lot. And I've had it done a few times over the years, and I've always had great success with it. So I'm hopeful that I can find someone down here to do that because I don't have time for this. At this point, I can definitely not swing a golf club. I'm supposed to play in 48 hours. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And of course, I think I'm going to have to take some time off of the gym, which is a total bummer for me. I was on a really good roll there. I think it's just one of those things. You have to honor your body. And I think it was just the combination of me with the golf and doing that twisting motion and then lifting really heavy on Saturday. I don't know, for whatever reason, things just didn't go right. And it's a total bummer. So I'm going to focus on the positives of what can I do. I'm pretty, I can still walk my dog. I can still get all my steps in. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to play pickleball because it's on my left side that's tight. So I'm going to try to play pickleball tomorrow afternoon and just take it from there and see how it goes. So it's not the worst thing in the world. A lot of people will ask me, so many clients, Jill, I'm going on vacation. I'm really worried about losing momentum with my workouts or with my food. And I'm like, taking a week off is fine. Don't overstress. It's that 1 week of vacation is never the problem. It's what you're doing in your day-to-day lifestyle. That is what gets us in trouble. So, in terms of making unhealthy choices, like 1 week I know of not doing my heavy lifting isn't going to ruin all of the progress that I've done over the last 7 years, right? I understand that. It's just, it puts me in such a good mood when I work out. I just like it. I like the feeling. It's not that I wake up every morning going, I can't wait to go work out. It's just that I know how much better I'm going to feel afterwards. Blends into a little bit what I wanted to talk to you about today. And really, it's getting you to that point where I am right now, where I don't have to, even if I'm not just so excited to go, I don't wake up going, I'm so excited to go work out today. I still go and work out because it's just a part of my program. It's what I do in my everyday life. It's just a habit for me at this point. And I know I feel better when I do it versus when I don't. So today I thought, man, I want to talk about this because for some of you, now that we're into February, maybe you started off the year with really good intentions of getting healthier. This It could have started really strong, actually. Maybe you were walking and you were lifting. Maybe you actually planned some meals. You felt really focused. You could have been feeling actually really proud of yourself. And now that we're in February, that motivation might not be there like it was. Maybe things are feeling quieter, harder to access, or maybe that motivation's gone altogether. Maybe you've been in an ice storm or a snowstorm or frigid cold temperatures, and getting out is harder to do. And if you're being honest, there's a tiny voice in your head saying, why can't I just stick with things? Like, what is wrong with me? Why do I always start strong and then fade out? And if that's you, I just want you to hear this really loud and clear right from the start. Nothing's wrong with you, okay? Nothing at all. Your motivation did not fade because you're weak or you're lazy or lacking discipline. It faded because motivation was never meant to carry you long term at all. All right. So today I want to explain why, and more importantly, what actually works instead of motivation. All right. So this is for you. This is all about why your January motivation faded and actually what will work instead. So I think it's something that we don't talk enough about is just normalizing the motivation drop. Okay. Motivation, for one, it's a feeling. And feelings, as we know, what are they? They're temporary. They're very temporary. And January motivation is one of those things that's just fueled by excitement. It's a fresh calendar. Like today, I'm recording this, it's February 1st. It's a fresh new month. There's something exciting about a blank slate. You've got the whole year ahead of you. It's a mental reset, January 1. Everyone around you is talking about goals and new beginnings, new year, new me, the word of the year. maybe a catchphrase. But here's the thing, motivation is reactive and not reliable. Motivation is reactive, not reliable. It shows up when something feels new and inspiring or emotionally charged. And then, as it always does, life happens. Work gets busy, your sleep gets off, someone gets sick, maybe you got sick, stress started to creep in, there was an injury, the weather, the storms, maybe you lost power. There's all kinds of things that could be happening. And then suddenly the emotional fuel you were running on has absolutely run out. And that doesn't mean that you failed, it means that you are human. In psychology, there's a clear difference between starting motivation and sustained behavior. Starting motivation is emotional, but sustained behavior is structural. And most women are never taught that difference. So when motivation fades, we blame ourselves instead of adjusting the system. So we've been told for so many years that success comes down to willpower. Just try harder, be more disciplined, push through. Here's the truth, and this is backed by actual behavioral science. Willpower is highly influenced by stress, sleep, energy, and your environment. It's not a character trait. It's not something you either have or you don't. When you're tired or overwhelmed, emotionally taxed, or mentally overloaded, your brain does exactly what it is designed to do. It conserves energy. All right. So that is what it was meant to do. It's going to conserve energy. Your brain is constantly asking, is this worth the effort? Is there an easier option? Can we default to something familiar? So when you don't feel like cooking, working out, or planning, that's not a failure of willpower. It is actual biology. So in midlife, when stress can be higher, hormones are shifting, and responsibilities may feel very heavy, the older your kids get, my mom always says, big kids, big problems, little kids, little problems. The sandwich generation is real, as we've talked about before. Maybe you have aging parents and you've got growing kids. It's a lot of stress. Relying on willpower alone becomes an absolute losing strategy. Okay. And again, like I said, it's biology, it's your brain taking care of your body, right? So, this is where I think so many women get stuck. They think if I could just be more intense again, I would get results. So they double down. Harder workouts, stricter rules, less food, and more pressure. And maybe that works briefly, like a couple of weeks, right? Maybe even a month. But intensity creates resistance. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a good stress and too much stress. It just knows overload. And overload, what does that lead to? It leads to burnout. Burnout leads to quitting. Quitting leads to guilt, and the guilt leads to starting over again. You guys, this is a cycle that is absolutely exhausting. And I'm curious, does this sound familiar to you? When we overdo it, it just leads to burnout. And that burnout goes through that whole cycle, burnout to quitting to guilt to starting over again. And then we just start it right back again. Let me just say this, when clients come to me the first week or so, I'm really only talking to them about three things: workouts, water, and whole food nutrition. I call it the three W's. That's it. We're not going to go completely overhaul everything. I'm just going to encourage them to eat more whole food nutrition, food in its more simple form, less ultra processed foods. I'm going to encourage them to drink more water, and I'm going to encourage them to start lifting weights with the faster way workouts that we have in our app. That's it. That's all in week 1, because I know if we try to do too much at once, it's like blows your mind, and it's going to cause stress, and it's going to cause overload. And then we go into that cycle. So Let's talk about the turning point. Let's talk about rhythm over intensity. This is where the shift happens. This is what works in midlife, which is rhythm, not intensity. Rhythm is doing less more consistently, okay? Creating patterns that your life can actually support. Rhythm is removing friction instead of adding pressure. Rhythm says, I don't need to be perfect. I need to be repeatable. Does that make sense to you? It's no secret that my very favorite protein powder in the marketplace is Prime Protein. Why do I like it so much? Well, one, it tastes amazing. I am loving the chocolate and the iced coffee flavors. Those two are my favorites. But grass-fed protein is the new way. So why grass-fed beef over whey or any other plant-based protein powder? Well, beef protein is packed with the collagen, gelatin, and micronutrients that your body needs. They work to repair your joints and soft tissues like plant protein won't. And studies have shown that beef protein provides additional benefits to strength, hypertrophy, and fat loss over whey. Simply put, more beef protein equals faster workout recovery, all-day energy, feeling full for hours, and better skin, bone, and hair health. You can go to today's show notes for the link to order your Prime Protein and use the code Jill for 15% off your first order. Like, none of us are meant to be perfect. I'm not perfect, okay? I could go over what I ate today. It was not perfect at all. I guarantee you I did not get enough fiber in today. I'm sure I got enough protein in, but there's probably some other stuff in there didn't really need. Did I get my workout in today? No. But you know what I did do? I did fast for 12 hours. I did drink a good bit of water. I did go on a walk, right? I did hit my protein. So I just do things that are repeatable and I don't overstress the perfection of it all because I know that is an impossible standard to live by. So instead of asking yourself, how hard can I go? Why don't you ask, what can I sustain even on a really messy week? You know what I mean? Like a messy week, a week of there's so much stuff going down it with your job, a week where your kids have something every single night. Okay. A messy week where maybe the kids are home from school because the weather's bad. Maybe it's a messy week where you're helping out your kids and you're watching your grandkids. It's a messy week that because maybe you're traveling. Because consistency doesn't come from motivation, it comes from success that you can repeat. Think about this. Every time you repeat something successfully, whether it be a walk, a workout, drinking water, a protein forward meal, your brain releases dopamine. It's not the dopamine of excitement, but the dopamine of confidence. The kind that says, I got this. I can do this. I trust myself. This feels manageable. I'm doing it. You're feeling success. And that is the kind of motivation that lasts. We also really need to say this out loud. Your body is not the same body that you had at 25 or 35, okay? And that is not a bad thing. It just means that the rules have changed, right? So let's get out of our head that it's bad that our body is 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, right? That's not a bad thing because honestly, what is your alternative? Your alternative is you're not here anymore. Okay? So it's a good thing that we're aging. But the rules have changed. Hormonal shifts are affecting your energy, your recovery. Hello, I figured that out this week. I needed more recovery. Sleep, stress tolerance, and appetite. For example, I'm sitting here just now, it dawned on me like I haven't felt good all week. Why did I feel like I needed to go in and do that heavy lifting session when I already wasn't feeling good? I had been doing a lot all week. I really didn't need to push the leg workout. So that's probably why I'm sure my form wasn't what it normally is because I've been under the weather. Oh, duh, Jill. But that's the thing. It's like I need to, I'm just like you, like I need to understand, like, okay, my body is now 52 years old. It's not 32 years old. And I need to adjust my thinking with this. So the hormonal shifts, like I said, they're affecting energy, recovery, sleep, your stress tolerance, your appetite. And life load, we mentioned earlier, it is heavier. You've got careers, kids, kid transitions. Maybe you're thinking about retirement. Maybe the career has already peaked. Your parents are aging or have passed. Mental and emotional labor increases. All of that impacts your capacity. So if you're trying to use the same push harder approach that you used years ago, it's going to feel a lot harder, not because you're broken, but really just because you've outgrown that strategy. The strategy of I can eat a pan of brownies and then go run however many miles, like we're way past that. Midlife requires smarter systems, not smarter willpower. All that to be said, what actually works? What are practical takeaways? Let me give you a few things that actually help motivation return without forcing it. One, I think, is you have to have anchor habits. These are non negotiables that feel doable, right? So for me, daily walking. Now, I have a chocolate lab. She requires walking. I feel beyond guilty if I don't. I do it more for her than I do it for myself. So if you don't have a dog, you probably don't aren't going to feel that. But a daily walk is the anchor for me. Strength training several days a week, that is an anchor for me. Eating protein first meal of the day to get it going. That's one of my anchors. A newer anchor I've talked about multiple times on the podcast for me is a consistent sleep routine. Sleep is protected like it is gold. Okay. So those are some anchor habits for me. I want you to think about what are anchor habits for you? We don't want too many, right? We don't want too many. So it shouldn't be everything. But just think about it. Maybe for you, you're like, oh, I like what she was talking about with the three W's: water, workouts, and whole food nutrition. That it could be as simple as that. But you decide what are your anchor habits going to be? These are your non-negotiables that actually can happen. And then number two, we need a design for low energy days. So I want you to ask yourself, what does success look like when I'm tired? Because consistency built on perfect days is not consistency. Let me say that again. Consistency built on perfect days is not consistency. We are not going to always have perfect days. It's like I've told my kids their whole lives, listen, life isn't meant to be perfect every day. Not every day of your life is going to be a wonderful day. In fact, you may have a time in your life where it's not just a bad day, it's a bad week. Maybe you have a bad month. You might have at some point in your life a bad year or two. Okay. That is life. That's just how it goes sometimes. Of course, we want the best and we want to be happy and we want to have wonderful days, but it may not be that way. So we can't just plan on having perfect days and then we're going to do all these things because we have to plan for I'm going to call them low energy days instead of saying a bad day. But all right. So I want you to have a design for those days. So if it's a day that you don't really feel great, day that you're emotionally upset, a day that is just not going your way, what are you going to do on those days? That your anchor on those days, it might just be water. It might just be, okay, I'm going to make sure I get protein in this first meal of the day. And that it may just be a 10-minute walk. I don't know, but you got to have some kind of design for those days as well. Number three, I think it's really important to track how you feel, not just what you weigh. Okay. What if you kept a little notebook? I don't know. I'm still a pen and paper girl, but maybe you could do it in your phone if you want to keep it just yourself in the notes section of your phone. Put the date. You could write down today's date and write energy, sleep, mood, confidence, and consistency. And just track how you feel about each one of those, because these are the real markers of progress. Energy, sleep, mood, confidence, and consistency. I want you to track how you feel about these. What's going on there? How is your energy? Is it good? Could it be better? Are you kind of crashing out like at 3 o'clock every afternoon? How's your sleep? Are you waking up in the middle of the night every night? Are you having trouble falling asleep? Or are you just staying up too late, mindlessly scrolling, then waking up tired because you went to bed too late? How's your mood? How are you with your family? How are you to live with? Are you snappy? Are you just an absolute delight to live with? Write down about your mood and your confidence. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about yourself? And then talk about your consistency. How consistent? Be honest, brutally honest with yourself. So I think it's really important to track those. So this is exactly why I coach the way that I do. I don't coach women to chase motivation. I coach them to build rhythms, to build systems, not just for good days, but I want them to build rhythms for that work when life is busy, rhythms that support hormones, rhythms that don't require starting over every month. Because the women that get the long-term results aren't the ones that are the most intense. They're just the most consistent. And consistency comes from systems that respect your real life and not fight against it. So if your January motivation faded, I want you to stop making that mean something about you, because it doesn't. It just means that you are ready for a much better approach, one that's built on rhythm, on support, and built for midlife. And if you want help in creating that rhythm, not pressure, not extremes, that's exactly what I do. You're not behind. You don't need to start over. You need a smarter way forward. You can always reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram at Jill B. Lewis. You can email me, jill@jilllewisliving.com, or just head to my website, jilllewisliving.com, and learn more about how you and I can work together to make sure that you get in a rhythm that is going to work for you in your life, and one that's going to feel successful and doable and not be extreme. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. You have a great week, and hopefully next week I feel better. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to Live Your Best Midlife. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit that follow button. And if you want to help more people discover my podcast, I'd be so grateful if you could take a moment to leave a rating and a review. Your feedback not only brightens my day, but it helps others to find my show. And if you're craving some more behind-the-scenes action, follow me on TikTok at Jill Lewis Living or on Instagram at Jill B. Lewis.